This episode of the Red and White Podcast is brought to you by Nick Overcash at Prime Lending. If you're in the market for a new home, building a home and need a construction loan, or just refinancing, do yourself a favor and reach out to Nick. If you're just now starting to think about your options, talk to Nick. He's got the experience to get you the best solution for your situation. Everybody's situation is unique, and you need that experience. He's a Pack fan, and we have to support our own. And speaking of, if you mention this podcast, he'll support you by offering you $500 off your closing costs. That's a win for you. That's a win for Nick. That's a win for the podcast. So check out nickovercash.com or call him at 919-854-4457. You can ask him financial questions or just talk to him about Wolfpack football. Either way, he'll be just as happy to talk to you. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Red and White Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Evan, here with my co-host, Dustin. Happy holidays, Dustin.
Yeah, you, sir, too, everybody else out there. You about missed a flub, everybody, because I tried to start recording without actually hitting the start recording button. So,
a little inside baseball there.
Yeah.
All right, it's another week that I still don't really have anything to talk about, but I do have an interesting story that happened to me this morning. I was going to share it with you, but I might as well put it on air. It's pretty funny. And I don't know if you'll appreciate this, but other parents out there that listen to it will. I was at my son, my 3-year-old, goes to a preschool at a church. And today we go to their little Christmas recital thing. And they're up on stage and they were singing their songs. And the pastor comes out and he comes to give a little lecture to the 3-year-olds, and he's up there talking about, he has a bell and he's talking about the thing in the bell that makes the noise, and some kid stands up and goes, "Boring," right in the middle of it. I lost it. It was awesome. Somebody's got it on video. It was straight out of Billy Madison. It made my day. It was fantastic.
That's fantastic.
It wasn't my kid, thankfully, but it was somebody's kid. It was really good.
That would have made the story slightly better, but,
Yeah. My kid was the one sitting in the corner whining and he didn't want to be up there singing, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That adds to it. Anyway. Interesting news this week, I guess, in Wolfpack land. There's some things that are happening. It was signing day. Probably the most important recruit was Darian Roseborough. At some point said he was staying this year. I think Inside Pack Sport broke that story a couple days ago. And Roseborough returning for a senior year is probably about as good as news as we could get, I think.
I'm more surprised that was a question. I don't see how he couldn't have benefited from another year.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get a lot of playing time. He comes back next year. He's going to start, obviously, and that's his actual time to shine. I feel like he would have done himself a huge disservice if he had left this year. I didn't even realize that was a tentative thing. So
yeah. Well, I remember when he signed, and then he committed to Michigan, then he recommitted to us. But I remember saying, where I'm going to play for the next 3 years. I remember that specifically.
If Chubb weren't here, he might have.
Yeah, it's possible. I'd love to see the snap counts. I have, if we did any kind of research before this podcast, we would have looked it up. But he got a pretty good amount of playing time. I don't think he got the focus because everybody was talking about Chubb all year. But I think he benefits from seeing what Chubb did come back, and now, hey, you're a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to shine for scouts saying, "Oh, well, he didn't start for their D-line. He played good when he did," but
right
there again, subs do great. Look at Alvin Kamara for the Saints blowing it up. Wasn't good enough to start when he was at Tennessee. So
no, let's hold on. Let's not equate the two. That's the perfect example of why Butch Jones got fired. Alvin Kamara, I heard the stats. He averaged 8 carries while he was at Tennessee.
Yeah.
8 carries a game. The guy is ridiculous. Yeah. He's so good. That's why Butch Jones got fired.
One of the reasons, yeah. Maybe incompetency, but, Anyway, what do you think about the class in general that signed yesterday?
I thought it was good, man. In fact, I think it's fantastic. I thought it was a really good class. The top end is really good. I mean, if you have Ricky Person, by some services, the number 2 running back in the country, I mean, that's huge. The guy is really good. Lynn McNeil, all the names people have heard of. I think it's really, the top half is really good. But what stands out to me is the back end of that class, like the secondary guy. I think there were 6 DBs in that class, and a couple of them are 6'2", 6'3". You're like, that's some big boys playing defensive back. That's what you need to cover these 6'5" Clemson wide receivers. Right. And so you could just tell they're like what Dorn's trying to do. He's trying to get bigger. He's trying to get longer. That's what they always say, trying to get longer. So I was happy with it, man. I thought it was a really good class. I don't think there's any surprises, which is good, which is what you want. I don't know.
I think honestly, and some people might not want to hear this, but it is a good thing. Like you look at it, and the 3 big services had us like what 24th or 23rd, somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
That's about as good as it's going to get here on a normal year.
So
yeah, people, oh man, I'd love to have one of those top 10 classes. More than likely, that's not going to be the case at a North Carolina State. This is the kind of class that we should expect, be happy with, that will, lead us to 8-win, 9-win seasons, on a regular basis. So, people say top 25, but then I've seen some random people, oh, well, it's, mediocre, barely top 25. That's where we are, and we should be happy with that. So,
yeah, I think that's, if they can get in that 20 to 30 range every year, I mean, that's a damn good program. You can't everybody get 5 stars. And you don't need to get 5 stars because there's guys out there like Chubb who are 3 stars coming out of high school. You have to be able to identify those highly talented guys and develop them. And you can develop into an All-American, develop into a top draft pick. I think the more important part is, it's the proverbial fence around the state that everybody always says. I think Dorn's doing a pretty damn good job of making that happen. I mean, he's signing 3 of the top 4 or 5 top 5 kids in the state,
right,
coming to state. I mean, I think that's fantastic. I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do, and I'm pretty happy with this class. I mean, I think 22, 24 range is damn good for us.
And I also have a weird, I don't know if I've tried to convince myself of it, but you could make the case that a class like this, at a school like this, could be just as beneficial long term as these, Clemson and Georgia classes. Well, but maybe not Georgia because that one's absurd. But look at these guys that come in 5 stars. They play immediately, right? Some of them leave after 3 years. So you have these young 5 stars in. Is that really that much better than having, high 3s and 4 stars come in, redshirt a year, because we don't throw these, top tier blue chip guys straight in, build depth? I mean, I think in the long run, it kind of balances out, if that makes any sense.
It's the Jim Grobe model. I think that's what we need to do. We need these guys to be juniors and seniors to, be playing the older guys to win. That's how you win those games. So I agree with you. I think that's the right way to look at it, the right thing for us to do. We don't need to get all the 5 stars. I mean, it's great. It's good for the headlines and all that, but it's not what defines a program, in my opinion, I don't think.
Like you said, those juniors and seniors, redshirt juniors and seniors, 3 and 4 stars against 5-star true freshmen or sophomores. I think that balances out. And you got to take what you're given. And with State's situation and where we're at, what we are, I think that's easily the best way to look at it and be happy with it. So
I think so too. And I always equate us to Clemson, 5-10 years ago. They weren't pulling in the 5 stars. They were pulling in the 3 and 4 stars. We were competing with them for a lot of recruits, and the hiring guys were picking them. But I think that's where you start, and you just kind of slowly elevate the program, and that's how you elevate the program. You get those guys that are going to be in there for, the Deshaun Watson's going to be there for 3 years, and these other guys that are just going to be there for a longer time.
Plus, we don't have
I think that's what you want.
Wolfpack Club does a great job, but that it tastes shit they have in Clemson. I mean, they bring in the money, and that's hard to compete with. I'm not saying there's any kind of cheating or anything going on, but Xavier Thomas signs with him yesterday, goes and buys a car. You can take that for face value if you want, but I don't know how he's going to pay for that car on his food benefit from it's tough. It's weird, but it's Clemson, so
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like I said, I'm happy with it. I think they're doing a great job. They're getting the right guys, and it is what it is. They're not going to beat Georgia with. I mean, that Georgia class, man. I can't believe. I don't know if anybody paid attention to this, but the top quarterback in the country, top player in the country, Justin Fields, 5-star quarterback, I believe, was down to Georgia and one other school or two other schools, and by all accounts was going to Georgia. And then Easton goes down, and Jake Fromm comes in and just carries Georgia to the playoffs, and it looks fantastic as a freshman. And now you're this Justin Fields guy, and you're like, well, am I going to go to Georgia and sit behind this guy for 3 years? I don't know, man. He still picked Georgia. I'm like, holy cow! Why did he do that?
Number 1 quarterback in the country 3 years in a row.
Yeah,
it makes no sense whatsoever.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know. I've seen some stuff about Easton wanting to transfer. I couldn't blame him if he did. He's not going to get back on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
transfer, absolutely.
It just sucks for him because he's a P5 quarterback, and they're not going to let him go anywhere in the SEC.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
He'd be a good ACC fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the kid at Clemson, too. Clemson just picked up another 4 or 5-star quarterback. And they had one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the country last year, Hunter Johnson, commit. And he's sitting behind Kelly Bryant. And Bryant, Hunter Johnson's not getting on the field. I'd be surprised if that guy sticks around. But I don't know. Where else are you going to go? Somewhere to play, or are you going to win a national title?
Yeah, it's just the whole. I don't know. Georgia is a whole. I mean, when you look at what they've done the past couple of years, recruiting now in the playoff, I think we might be close to teams saying we want Georgia. That's like a year or 2 away instead of Bama.
Right.
Because that's. I don't know. We'll see how they do in the playoff, but
really?
They might. I mean, they're building something that looks eerily similar to what happened when Saban took over Bama. So, and in the East, which gives them an easier route. People have laughed at the SEC East for years now, but I'm pretty sure that that's switched, and it's going to be the stronger division in that conference, which is hard to believe. But look at what Georgia's doing. Dan Mullen at Florida now. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced that Pruitt's a good hire at Tennessee and is going to win there. I don't know. The SEC is interesting right now, so. That's just that class at Georgia just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Freaking the top player in the state of Tennessee, Cade Mays, his dad played at Tennessee. He was born and raised in Knoxville. Went to Knoxville Catholic High School. Big, huge offensive lineman. Been a strong Tennessee commit. Decommitted November 7th when all the Butch stuff was going on. Committed to Georgia yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Knoxville. And he goes to their rival in the East. So that's the kind of stuff they're pulling in. And he was a strong Clemson lean. Everybody's going to Clemson. Dabo was there last week at his house. And somehow Georgia flips guys like that. And it's crazy. I don't know what to think about him.
If you're a high school running back, is there anywhere else you'd want to go?
Absolutely not.
Oh, dude, they're just churning out NFL backs. It's insane.
Yeah. Also, you can tell that we're in the down season right now because we don't have anything else to talk about.
We're talking about Georgia football recruiting.
Second, boys.
We've spiraled out of control here. I don't know everything else. I mean, I'm happy with the recruiting class. I'm happy with our recruiting class. I'm happy. It is what it is. I thought it was interesting, Dorn's press conference. I don't know if anybody watched it. I listened to it, and he was talking about they kept asking about, Chubb. Is Chubb going to play in the bowl game? And then Roseboro said he's coming back. And Dorn, first of all, didn't know that Roseboro was going to, put out there that he's coming back. He said, yeah, he just decided to tell everybody he was coming back. I was like, all right. But the other part he was saying is that he wasn't going to answer any of those questions about those guys, like, is Finley coming back or any of these others. He's going to let them do it. I thought that was interesting. He's like, if they want to announce it that they're coming back or they're going pro, they're going to do it when they're ready. And we're not going to talk about it until, I guess, after the bowl game or whatever. That was an interesting approach. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, let them have their moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Side note there, is Finley staying or going?
I don't think anybody. I think they should all stay. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for him to go. If Finley goes, it's just a Trevor Lacey situation where he feels like he's too old and needs to go.
I don't know if he's still projected that high.
That's true.
I could see it. I don't know that he would necessarily increase stock next year. But I'd prefer Leary to be able to sit on the bench for a year, which I guess McClendon would start, but I'd rather see him back is the gist of that. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else football?
No, that's it. And got a quick Trevor Lacey mention in there, but we'll get to more basketball and apparently aliens after the break.
Ooh.
Picture this. Your buddy's a Falcons fan. You're a Panthers fan. You go to trashtalktext.com, and once a day for 2 weeks at a random time, he gets a text reminding him the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. That's quality entertainment. Check out trashtalktext.com and send your friends anonymous trash talk about their favorite team. As always, if you're interested in learning more about sponsoring the podcast or our sponsors themselves, check out redandwhitepodcast.com/sponsors. All right, folks, we're back, and it's basketball time. Dustin, I'm letting you take this one. This is all you.
I told y'all about UNCG, first off.
You did.
But that was also the pre-Markel Johnson news, which obviously didn't help. They came out that game and looked really good to start with, though, and then it just all fell apart. I don't know. I don't want to say that they were out-coached or anything, that just none of the shots were falling. And I think you could tell that you had guys out there who aren't used to playing in the roles they were playing and with the other people in those positions in those roles. So it was just a bad break at a bad time, I think. Yeah, I was at my parents' house. I was helping my mom with her Christmas decorations and stuff. So I had it on my phone. I wasn't really paying attention. And then after I was leaving, and I was looking at Twitter and my text messages, and people were like, there's some people upset. Like, specific players didn't play too well, apparently. Like, what was that all about? I cooled off a little bit, but when you have one player who continuously tries to drive where there's nowhere to drive, won't give up the ball, obviously is not hot shooting, but continues to shoot, and you look at so many lost possessions, that stings. He's got to recognize it's not there, or the coach has to recognize it's not there and tell him. That I took some issue with that. And then it kind of happened again against Robert Morris, same player.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stock being put in him, and I'm not seeing it yet, which it could come around. But one guy can't do it, especially one who's, I wouldn't say, oh, man, he's a star player. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think people... I mentioned Trevor Lacey. I think people are expecting him to be Trevor Lacey. And
that's not the same.
I think he's not the same. And I think people are trying to realize that. Now, Freeman might be fine, but I think he's trying. I don't know if he's trying too hard or what it is, but I've noticed it too, just watching some of the games where he's just, driving the lane and he's forcing things. He's not making things happen within. They always say, like, within the game or within the flow of the game. He's kind of living outside.
I'm good with driving the lane if it's there, or if you can force it to be there. But when you go up or
Right.
drive in, take a terrible shot, or just go in and turn the ball over, I mean, those are wasted possessions. I'd rather see an outside shot if there's no chance of it. And it's just, I don't know, looking at that Greensboro game, take some of that away, and it ends up being probably a win. A close win, but probably a win. So those are
Right.
things they have to figure out.
And now that Greensboro team, like you said, I think they played some people close, and they even beat somebody, right? Georgia Tech or Virginia Tech or one of the Techs, I think.
I don't know. I
Did they
know they
not?
were talking last night about Wofford beating Georgia Tech. That's all I know.
Oh, did Wofford upset somebody?
I think something happened last night. I'm not sure what it was. But
Were there any state fans in the crowd holding up signs about scores of games?
no, they would have, if a state fan tried that in Chapel Hill, they'd get thrown out. You know it's true. Yeah.
Roy Williams.
Yeah, they wouldn't get to stay.
Right?
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Wofford beating Carolina helps put the Greensboro thing in perspective. Wofford's a worse team than Greensboro. We were not ranked 5th in the country when we lost, so all is well.
College basketball is a funny thing, man. I think it's just weird like that. I think he tweeted out earlier that Wofford was a 25.5 point
Yes.
underdog.
Yes.
That's
I
insane.
didn't see. I would have loved to have seen. I didn't see the money line on that, but damn, if somebody took Wofford straight up, whew, they made money.
One of my buddies is a Carolina fan. He's one of the guys in our football group. I'm not sure if this was in our football chat or not, but this morning somebody asked or mentioned something about Wofford, and he was like, typical Carolina fan response. Oh, I don't care about preseason basketball or whatever it was. It's like it's not ACC season. December basketball. I don't really care about it.
And that's a good outlook to have, I guess. But that's a bad loss, man. Greensboro won't be
Yeah.
that bad of a loss, but Wofford, I think they were picked 6th in their league. So 6th in the SoCon, goes to Chapel
that's
Hill
not
and beats a top 5 team. That's not good.
Yeah. What else you got for me?
Basketball wise,
Anything?
nothing really.
Give me something.
I got, something that's going to piss a lot of people off. Everybody dogged Tennessee fans for the coaching fiasco and using Twitter as a tool and all that. But is that not what state fans are trying to do with our new beat writer for the NNO?
Not even
It
close.
is.
I saw your
It is.
reaction. Not even
It is.
close.
You have people rebelling.
not
You
even
have people
close.
rebelling, acting a fool, acting like they're going to change something when they're not. I don't know. At least the coach has actually something to do with the program. Whereas people upset about a beat writer, come on, just don't pay attention to it. Let it go. It doesn't affect the team.
I get the analogy. I get the angry social media fan analogy, all that stuff. I don't think it's anywhere comparative. There's a lot of other reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why that's. I don't think I would relate to two. But I do agree with you. It's like, don't pay attention to it. I don't care. I wouldn't know two things about it because as soon as I know he's kind of discounted us. Why should I even bother? I don't follow him on Twitter. I don't pay attention to him. I don't care what he has to say. Like, there's far too much good coverage of state sports to worry about this guy. So, go ahead. He can say what he wants. He can write what he wants. It doesn't bother me at all. If I want, some news, I'll go to one of the other, 5 or 6 other sites and podcasts that are talking about state that I know are going to give it its due. I don't care what this guy has to say. Just don't bother with it.
Yeah, people aren't going to listen to you.
I know they won't.
State and
But they
Tennessee are
should.
intertwined, man.
It's so wrong.
The only other thing I got, honestly, to talk about is aliens, man. This stuff that's coming out from the Pentagon, video of quote unquote UFOs from footage on an F-18 Hornet, which, if you don't know, is a very fast jet in the armed services for the U.S. This thing was faster than those, moving in ways that's unnatural. Apparently coming down, it was hovering over the ocean and just causing the ocean to erupt almost below it.
All right, so too long didn't read. Catch me up. I haven't been paying attention. What are we talking about aliens for?
Just all that. I mean, a UFO over the water.
What happened?
All right, so the Pentagon released information of a program that shut down in 2012.
Yeah.
Where they were studying, looking for extraterrestrial life, that kind of thing. So then out from that comes this video of F-18s following this UFO that's just moving in vertical positions, up and down. There's no obvious propulsion system on it. They have no idea what it is. You can hear that the pilots are just confused as hell. So that's one aspect. Then you have this other aspect where we've apparently discovered some alien alloy type metal that we cannot identify that has some kind of effect on people that come near it, which they're not releasing what that is. And the government constructed buildings in or outside Las Vegas just for the purpose of holding this material for scientists to study, and they can't figure out what the hell it is. There's a bunch of shit going on and nobody's talking about it, man. I don't want to be one of these freaks that
I love aliens. I'll talk about aliens all day, every day.
Almost no mathematical chance that there's not something else out there somewhere.
Oh, dude, for sure. If you don't believe in aliens, I don't know. You're crazy. The universe and the galaxy is far too expansive. It'd be to be so egotistical. I think that we're the only ones out there.
And I don't understand. This is getting no coverage. But this isn't something that some kook in his mom's basement came out with. This is a government report, and nobody cares. What is this rock just hanging out in Vegas that messes with people? What does it do to people? Why won't they tell us that? Can it make another Kate Upton? There's a lot of questions and studies that we need to do. Yeah.
It's magical.
I don't know. It's just blowing my mind, man. I'm afraid we're going to be under attack soon.
Well, it was a good ride. So hopefully we can get it on air. No, dude, there's aliens. No doubt about it. I don't know if they visited us. I don't know if there's somebody here. I have some friends that I think are kind of out of this world. They're probably aliens, but I can't confirm.
Yeah, I mean, y'all go do a little bit of research. I mean, this was the first time I saw it. It was a New York Times article, and then scientists went on MSNBC. I saw a clip of that talking about the material they found and all that stuff. And there's something weird going on, and nobody cares.
Y'all tweet me any alien things you find. I'll send them to me at ER. I need to see them. I love some aliens.
I'll find that stuff.
True story. We were driving cross country. This is back 2000-ish. And I was driving cross country with some dudes, and we were coming from California back to North Carolina. And I legit made them go out of their way to go to Roswell, New Mexico. Which is a weird place. Despite all the alien stuff, it's really strange. But yeah, I love some aliens. They're here. They're among us.
Oh, it's happening, dude. So,
X-Files is coming back too, by the way.
Hey, The Office is coming back. I don't know if anybody's
more excited about the X-Files.
Excited about that. But yeah. Anyway, I don't have anything to talk about. I was trying to think of stuff, and I knew I could piss people off and get some reactions over saying that State fans are Tennessee fans, and then aliens. So,
I got one question for you. Is your Christmas shopping done, and did you do it all on Amazon?
Christmas shopping is done. The last gift was purchased this morning on Amazon. Mm-hmm. But no, not all of it was done on Amazon. So.
Oh, okay. Man, there's people out everywhere like going crazy. I'm like, people, Amazon. It's there for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff that it's just easier to get out somewhere else. Or like a specialty item I couldn't find on Amazon that I had to get elsewhere. Yeah, it was ordered online, but yeah, do it from your couch, y'all. It's way easier.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Dustin to send me that gold-plated microphone for Christmas, but we'll see. I'll hang it on my Christmas tree.
Dude, give me your microphone now and a can of spray paint, and I got you covered. Anyway, I don't have anything else to talk about, man.
I don't either. We're gonna derail this really quickly.
Yeah.
As always, thanks for listening. Hope everybody has the happy holidays. Stay safe. Get everything you want. Eat enough. Spend some time with your family. Enjoy the moment.
That's it.
Go Pack.
Go Pack.